Moving on, the Food and Allied Workers Union has expressed fears that many more manufacturing firms may consider shutting down if government does not allow the reversal of the benchmark discount on some imported items. Wilmar Africa last week announced a shutdown of one of its palm oil production plants in the country, citing the benchmark discounts and challenging economic conditions. Well, the General Secretary of FAWU, Ken Kumsin, says about 50,000 workers risk losing their jobs if the government does not do the needful. He joins us with more. Of course, grateful to have you on the program. What is the current state of Wilmar producers of fried oil, especially when we have seen your manufacturing plant being shut down?
Well, thank you very much. I want to express gratitude to the Joy platform and also to the listeners for giving us such attention to address these issues. Currently, the company is shut down after they notified the union of an intention to shut down. The shutdown is in respect of the 25-liter oil, which is the major liter that brings in the revenue to the company. Now, what you must understand is that from the plantation up until the plant, you have about 50,000 employees who are in that chain, from the outgrower to the smallholder to the milling plant, processing of the palm oil, the oil palm into palm oil, which also then is processed into vegetable oil. Throughout that chain, from the plantation up onto the plant, we have almost about 50,000. Now, what you must also understand is this, that the byproduct of the palm oil, the crude palm, is a fatty substance we call stearin. This is what is used in the production of margarine. So it tells you that there is also an impact as far as the margarine plant and all the employees who work in the margarine plant are concerned. Again, the byproduct of the crude palm is also used in the production of soap, detergent, which means that Unilever and the African consumer and all those employees within that supply chain are going to be affected. Now, the current situation we have in the company is that all the tanks in the company are full. We are talking about 5,000 metric ton capacity tanks multiplied by about 15 tanks in the company, which is currently filled. That means that you cannot continue to buy or transport from the plantation. What that means essentially is that if you cannot import, if you cannot buy from the plantation, it means those farmers in Western region who are involved in the growing, in the processing and transportation are going to lose their job. What you must understand is that in the rural community, the plantation represents one of the major industrial activity entities in the Western region. So what we are talking about here, we are not into game. We are talking about real numbers and the impact on jobs and the impact on livelihood,
especially
and the impact on the revenue that's supposed to be given paid to government.
Especially on direct and indirect jobs. We do get that premise there. But Mr. Kumsin, we do understand the impact of this decision that you've taken on jobs directly and indirectly. Has there been any response from government since the press conference?
As I speak to you now, we have not yet received any response after the press conference on the 14th, which was a day after the directive from the RA. But we are still optimistic that government will certainly act in accordance with its own resolution on this policy. Let me add quickly that the 2022 budget that was submitted to Parliament and approved consequently clearly indicated that there has been the suspension of the 50% benchmark for one reason. The reason is so government can mobilize sufficient resources to be able to fund its 2022 budget. That tells you clearly that government has undertaken its own research, investigation, and has come to the conclusion that the contribution of this company to national development, to job security, the protection of livelihood, far outweigh any importer who imports any product which is being sold locally. Again, I must put on record that government agenda on the 3 crops, which identifies 6 crops, are all part of government initiatives to ensure that we move out from importation to industrialization. What you must understand, nowhere in the world has any economy developed, grown, with depending on import.
Indeed.
It has always been industrialization.
Yeah, indeed.
From
that remains the
policy
argument as well of the Association of Ghana Industries, of which I believe you're a strong member of. But of course, Ken Kumsin, you have explained to us extensively the impacts of jobs. And of course, we're also going to be seeing some impact on your profit margins as well. Help us understand in clear terms this decision to shut down your plant. Will it be an irrevocable one, even though government is currently having a broader consultative engagement? Should it not go in your favor?
The analysis that is being done currently is that with the 50% discount that has been offered to importers, renders the sale of the fried cooking oil in Ghana, and not just Wilmar. Avenat is there, and all the other companies that directly benefit from the crude, from the raw materials, which is the derivative of the CPO, which is the crude palm oil. All these companies are at risk and at stake of losing jobs, and my emphasis is jobs. My emphasis is the opportunities, the employment opportunities that are out there. Again, you must also understand that it is even far bigger than that. We are talking about an industry that offers research, intentions that are being carried out by students and so on and so forth. So the fact of the matter, the crux of the matter here is that we have done a copious analysis of the impact of a shutdown of a processing plant and its consequences on the supply chain. Let us not even try to politicize this issue. We are talking about real jobs. There are about 50,000 workers who risk losing their job just because of benchmark policy. I don't want to go into the legality or not of the benchmark policy, because by Section 67, 68, 69 of the Customs Act 2015, passed by the previous regime, clearly speak or make offense, clearly talks about the benchmark policy being an offense, being an ill policy, and discourages anybody from even adopting benchmark policy. You have to understand even what the benchmark policy is all about. We don't know whether it is a rebate policy or what it is. But benchmark policy in itself, legally speaking, it offends the WTO rules, it offends the World Customs Organization rules. It is an offense to any international rule as far as trade is concerned. So I want us to look at this carefully. This is the same problem since 1960, when Kwame Nkrumah involved the development, construction of businesses, companies in Ghana. The reasons that resulted in the collapse of Tema Food Complex, the textile industry, the sugar industry, the rubber plant, is the same problem we are dealing with. It has to do with policies that are dangerous, that are inimical, that are destructive, policies that have been passed by the successive government that have rendered our economy jobless, and the youth, the teeming youth, flying the streets with no jobs. Why?
Yeah, we feel the arguments that you've raised, and of course we continue to engage, stakeholders like yourself, especially when broader consultation is ongoing. Ken Kumsin, General Secretary of the Food and Allied Workers Union, of course, relating to matters of the benchmark value. You're still watching Marketplace with me, Charles Aite. We're going for a short break. Do stay with us.